I have probably watched Forrest Gump about a dozen times. I absolutely love that movie, and every time I watch it, I'm just holding back my tears from beginning to end, and periods of the movie where I just can't hold it in. It deeply moves me every time I watch it. I go online, I like to watch breakdowns of the movie and just see what people's perspectives are, and I don't often come across what I'm going to talk about today. It's funny because it's a blatant message. It's sort of very obvious, but at the same time, it's a little discreet. It's not really touched upon overtly. And that is what I call the three S's. Early on in the movie, when Forrest was just a little boy and his mom wanted to enroll him into a public school, and the scene was her in the office of the principal, and he was just sitting outside and waiting. And the principal lifted up a sheet of paper and said, well, look, the issue is that Forrest falls below baseline. And he showed him a sheet of paper with like a dotted line that shows, I guess, the crossing boundary between where you are now and classified as, I guess the term would be neurodivergent, whether you have autism or what have you. And then above that baseline, you are now considered normal or above average. He fell just below the line, and I think that was done on purpose. I believe the implication of that, of him being just below baseline, was the only place you can be is in the present moment. He was smart enough that he's able to function in life, do what he needs to do, be very good at a skill that he focuses at, because he's grounded in the present. But he is simple enough, or let's just say, but based on the movie, dumb enough, stupid enough, that he does not have any intense complex, any old trauma creep in, possess, and hijack him. Or he has very little drive to build a persona. He essentially doesn't have it at all. Who he is in the very beginning of the movie is the exact same person he is at the end of the movie. This follows it into the next part, synchronicity. Throughout the entire movie, you'll see a beautiful contrast between Jenny, who he loved, who had a traumatic background of sexual abuse in her household. And then you have Forrest Gump, the simple, archetypally speaking, the innocent child. You notice how when Forrest, being in the present moment, was able to allow synchronicity to work in his favor. He was able to dance with it. Not being bound to any one thing. He went from being a ping pong star to, well, I'm not going to say it in any particular order, but you know what? I'll do it anyway. He started off in football. In college, they saw him running fast, so he decided, okay, I'm going to do football. And he applied his present ability to stay focused in the moment to build on the skill of being a good football player. And they gave him one job, run from A to B. Then he transitioned into the military, where he was good at putting together the weapon, taking the weapon back together. He was just on point. He knew what he had to do. And it worked very well with the type of personality he was, which then eventually they went to Vietnam, and then he ended up rescuing and saving his platoon. And that came about because he had a deep loyalty to Bubba, his friend, but then also at the same time, in that present moment, he felt a soul-led calling that said, I need to save my friend, and I can't leave all these people behind while I go look for him. Which then eventually he then transitioned to ping pong, and then bubblegum shrimp, and then running, however long he was running for. The point is that he was soul-led. He wasn't ego-led. And when he's soul-led, combined with the present moment, that is the language of synchronicity. And what's beautiful is that what it leads to the third S, surrender. He was able to, at any point, when the soul said, we've done what we needed to do here, he was able to listen, move forward, and let it go. You look at Jenny, who had a difficult time contending with her past. When she prayed in the cornfield, I think it was a cornfield, and wanted God to turn her into a bird so she can fly away. And she kind of got what she wanted. She flew anywhere she went. She ran as far as she could, when in reality she was just trying to run away from what was going on within. And then you compare that to Forrest, who experienced death in his life, experienced loss. But his simplicity, his soul-led drive allowed him to process, to grieve, and move forward. And of course, it's a movie, it's meant to be more exaggerated, but there is that deep lesson to be made. Don't be so ego-driven. And if you are ego-driven, there is fear there. There is anxiety, there is stress, there are stories and memories that are hijacking you. There are complexes that creep in and warp the vision of your future. Take you out of the present moment where synchronicity exists. Simplify. To simplify means to face inward. It's not easy to do. When I say simple, I mean the strategy is simple. The act is difficult. It takes consistent practice. Then the next thing is being able to spot synchronicity and trust its flow. And that's the hardest thing to do, is to trust it, because everything in your ego will say, no, not the right direction. We can't go this way. We're not going to make money like this, or we're going to get rejected like this. And it's a very difficult balance. But as I said in my previous video, soul-led, ego-assisted. And then finally, the surrender, being one of the most difficult. And speaking from personal experience, going through a transition period of surrendering and letting go of my old identity, who was supposed to be this world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, put so much years and effort into it, to then one day my soul waking up and just saying, nope, we're going to go in a different direction now. The same way Forrest Gump was running near the end of the movie. He grew his hair, grew his beard, and as he eventually he was in the desert, he had a whole bunch of people behind him who were following him. He stopped and turned around, and they said, oh, he's going to say something. And he decided, I'm pretty tired now. I think I'm going to go home. And that was it. Not bound by the identity, not bound by the responsibility. He had all these people who had hope for him and were following him. When the soul said, no, that's enough, you've done what you needed to do, he moves on. Wasn't attached by fame, money, status, or nothing. And those scenes always move me deeply. Every single time I watch it, it's the same reaction every single time. Applying those 3 S's is what I take from the movie Forrest Gump. And I hope this was something that added for you. If you've ever seen the movie and you haven't, go watch it. Absolutely go watch it. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Don't forget, first link down below, download my free PDF for my Identity Initiation Guide. It's a process that I use for myself and the process I teach to my clients, how to break down, go into the inner world to understand the stories that have been controlling our lives, causing us to self-sabotage, to fear failure, to fear intimacy. Whatever it is, we can use this process to dig down, find it, and have a process to re-author and to shape your own destiny, because if we do not face them, they will control us. And by what is controlling, meaning the stories and the complexes and the traumas that we live with. Of course, doing this alone is very difficult, which is why I leave a second link down below to book a call with me, as I've walked the path myself for a number of years and have now helped many people do the exact same thing. This is also for people who not just on the beginning part of their journey who don't know the stories that control their lives. This is also for people that know the stories, but they still feel locked within them. You're watching it happen to you in real time, and you want to know how to break it. And I have processes and steps to help you do that. Again, thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.